These doubts that cause us to be uncertain about our value to Jehovah or about the wisdom of decisions we've made. They have to explain that it's not doubts that give evidence of a lack of faith in Jehovah and his promises. The promises of this organization, none of them have come true. Just look at the beliefs clarified section on their website. Because apparently Jehovah's Witnesses are having doubts. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses aren't allowed to prove all things, right? They must obey whether it seems practical from a human standpoint or not. They give the example of a young witness who wonders if their God is really interested in him. The key word here is young, or a middle-aged brother who, when examining his budget, has second thoughts about putting kingdom interests first over a career. Why is that? Well, because Armageddon hasn't come yet. What about the brothers and sisters who never had children because Armageddon was coming? I'll bet you they're having some doubts. I could go on and on. What about the Jehovah's Witnesses in their 60s and 70s and 80s who put their careers on hold, who didn't graduate high school, who didn't go to college, who did menial labor so that they could pioneer? What about those who are too old to work but cannot survive because they don't have enough money? I'll bet you they're having doubts. And some may ask, does Jehovah really notice me? Have the sacrifices that I've made for Jehovah been worth it? What sacrifice? They've been doing it their whole lives and it's gotten them nowhere. It will get them nowhere in the eyes of a holy God, which is tragic. I have family members still locked in this organization. Later in life, some could think back to the sacrifices that were made for this God in order to survive the impending threat of Armageddon. Was it all worth it? Time has passed, perhaps even decades. They may seem acquaintances who pursued secular interests and who now enjoy apparent financial security. Was it worth it? When we were told in the 1960s, early 70s, don't graduate high school, don't worry about school, Armageddon's coming in 75, the magazine said it, right? And now maybe they're old and they're struggling. Was it worth it? Or did they cause me to miss other opportunities? This is telling the truth. I mean, that's the truth. You have Jehovah's Witnesses now in their 70s and 80s who have to work because they don't have enough money to survive, because Armageddon never came. Armageddon, by the way, is a place. It's the Valley of Megiddo, Har-Megiddo. It's where God is going to dry up the Euphrates so that the kings of the east can come through. And in this valley, it's a place, and God is going to take care of them. Armageddon is not fire and sulfur falling down out of heaven on all people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses. Remember, we learned last week that the pictures tell their own story, right? So here you have a very happy Jehovah's Witness washing windows because he's looking to the future of having a wheelbarrow full of, I can't even see, what is that, apples? Or I can't see that what that is right now. The caption says, a brother performs manual work to support his family, but his mind is firmly fixed on the paradise to come. You know, that paradise where they're going to work for billions and billions of years. So listen, there's nothing wrong with washing windows at all. But in this context, people are giving up higher education, or they're choosing to perform this type of work that gives them more freedom to pioneer. Can we ever really know how our life would have turned out if we had made different decisions? I know how my life turned out because I got out of that organization. The main reason being wasn't because I didn't believe it at the time. The main reason being was I couldn't do any more. I couldn't be any better than I was. It was never enough, and I threw in the towel. When you doubt that you are useful to Jehovah's Witnesses, this is talking about those who are older, they may struggle with their worth. Rather than focus on what you're no longer able to do, concentrate on what you can do. They can give, right? Because Mary gave Jesus a gift of costly perfume, but the needy widow contributed only 2 small coins. I can hardly buy my medications and food and rent, but let me give some money to the organization and maybe I'll feel better about myself.